Hello students, and welcome to topic 14 of alternative and renewable energy sources. The topic we will be covering is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy can be used to produce electricity. Wells are drilled deep into the geothermal reservoir, which then bring water to the surface where it heats. Its heat can be converted into electricity. This is a type of geothermal energy we will be covering in this topic. Geothermal energy close to the surface is being used to heat and cool homes. Geothermal heat pumps take advantage of the nearly constant temperature of the earth to heat and cool buildings. The shallow ground, or the upper 10 feet of the earth, maintains a temperature between 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature is warmer than the air above it in the winter and cooler in the summer. Geothermal heat is used directly, as shown here, without involving a power plant or a heat pump for a variety of applications such as space heating and cooling, food preparation, hot springs bathing and spas, agricultural greenhouses, and industrial processes. Uses for heating and bathing are traced back to ancient Roman times. We'll have an introduction to the geothermal energy, look at the different types of reservoirs, and the different ways to produce electricity. Geothermal energy is energy stored in the form of heat below the surface of the earth. This is a significant quantity of heat stored in the Earth's interior and originates primarily from the decay energy of naturally radioactive isotopes, which can be found in the Earth's crust and mantle. The entire world resource base of geothermal energy has been calculated in government surveys to be larger than the resources base of coal, oil, gas, and uranium all combined. A common way in which geothermal energy is obtained is through tapping into hydrothermal sites, also called geothermal springs. These sites are geologically active places where water seeps into the Earth's crust and is heated by the Earth's interior, rising to the surface as steam. Geothermal water can be harnessed for plants that use the steam to produce turbines, to power turbines and create electricity. There are several kinds of these geothermal power plants: dry, flash, and binary, and all of them are clean and efficient alternative energy sources. There are four main kinds of geothermal resources: hydrothermal, geopressured, hot dry rock, and magma. The four types are depicted here. A picture depicts a hydrothermal resource. They have the common ingredients of water, hydro, and heat, thermal. These geothermal reservoirs of steam or hot water occur naturally where magma comes close enough to the surface to heat groundwater trapped in fractured or porous rocks, or where water circulates at great depths along faults. Hydrothermal resources are used for different energy purposes depending on their temperature and how deep they are. Geopressured resources are found where there is an impermeable layer of sedimentary caprock that traps a geothermal reservoir. In these instances, the weight of the sediment layer and the lack of permeability increases the pressure inside of the reservoir. Geopressured resources typically range from 90 degrees to 200 degrees centigrade, and the increase in pressure reduces the energy required to pump the resource, making geothermal resources desirable. A geopressure resource is on the right side of the picture. As the water is pumped to the surface, the pressure reduces and the water turns to steam. Hot, dry rock is an abundant source of geothermal energy available to mankind. A vast store of thermal energy is contained in the hot but essentially dry, impervious crystalline basement rocks found almost everywhere deep beneath the Earth's surface. Here is a dry rock geothermal reservoir being used to generate electricity. Hydrothermal energy production can only exploit hot fluids already in place in the Earth's crust. A HDR system consisting of the pressurized HDR reservoir, the boreholes drilled from the surface, and the surface injection pumps and associated plumbing recovers the Earth's heat from the hot but dry regions via the closed-loop circulation of pressurized fluid. This fluid, injected from the surface under high pressure, opens pre-existing joints in the basement rock, thus creating a man-made reservoir that may be as much as a cubic kilometer in size. The fluid injected into the reservoir absorbs thermal energy from the high-temperature rock surfaces and then serves as a vehicle for transporting that heat to the surface for practical use. A magma geothermal resource is shown here. The magma heats the water present inside the Earth and increases its temperature greater than 182 degrees Celsius. This hot water from the Earth is piped to the surface of the Earth through hot water wells. This depicts a power plant arrangement to recover energy from a magma geothermal reservoir. Electric generation for geothermal reservoirs is currently produced by one of three power plants: dry steam, flash steam, and binary cycle. This slide gives a view of each power plant. Dry steam plants use steam directly from a geothermal reservoir to tune a generator turbines. The first geothermal power plant was built in 1904 in Italy, where natural steam erupted from the Earth. They are the oldest type of geothermal power plant. Geothermal reservoirs containing pure steam is required. Pure dry steam drives turbines. This is a very rare type of geothermal power plant. An animation of the dry steam power plant is shown here. A flash steam plant takes high-pressure hot water from deep inside the Earth and converts it to steam to drive generator turbines. When the steam cools, it condenses to water and is injected back into the ground to be used again. Most geothermal power plants are flash steam plants. This is a commonly used geothermal power plant. The geothermal reservoir containing both hot water and steam is required. Pressure changing system is required. An animation of a flash steam power plant is shown here. The last is a binary cycle power plant, which transfers the heat from geothermal hot water to another liquid. The heat causes a second liquid to turn to steam, which is used to drive a generator turbine. It does not use steam directly to spin turbines. Only the heat from the underground water is used. Vaporized hydrocarbons are used to spin the turbine. Hydrocarbons have a lower boiling point. Isopentene, isobutene, and propane can be used. This is a worldwide accepted power plant. An animation of the binary power plant is shown here. This shows the area of the United States that could possibly have geothermal resources. This shows the current and planned geothermal power generation facilities. Geothermal power plants have advantages. 1, free and renewable. 2, virtually pollution-free and does little damage environmentally. 3, geothermal plant virtually produces no emissions. 4, operating costs low. 5, geothermal plants do not have to transport fuel. And 6, not dependent upon weather conditions. They also have disadvantages. Not all areas are suitable for production of electricity. The generation of geothermal energy creates noise pollution and releases noxious smells. 3, even though operating costs are low, cost of geothermal plants is high. 4, can run out of steam. 5, earthquakes during drilling. And 6, always a danger of eruption of volcano. If there are any questions, please post them on the eLearn Help discussion.